All right, this is going to be a quick video explanation on, well, quite a few things here. I'm going to use this sink as an example of essence in the body, and this container as an example of the body. If you're generating an essence build, a very light one, you're going to have it look like that. Very light, not too crazy. That's a 1-1. And as you generate more, you're going to let more water, right? More and more water, okay, into the body. Water being essence, right? You're going to have that buildup of the essence in the body. We'll just stop it for a moment, not to get ahead of ourselves. That essence generation is cut off just like that faucet is. On, off. It's that quick. And it should be a flow just like that to wherever the core is on the body, wherever it takes hold. Now, if you're generating that essence, you're going to have this amount of it, right? Who's to say how much that water weighs? Who's to say how much of that water will come out at the different levels, right? It's a variation. So the potency of your essence is a variation from one student to another. Let that be known. The overall flow of your essence is going to be different as well. It's different for everybody. And the overall stabilities or instabilities that you feel with that essence generation is going to be different as well. So with that being said, we have different trainings, and I want to kind of go through these trainings really quickly. Speaking about the static essence flow training, all you're doing is holding that static essence build of your choice without moving to that point and just letting it flow. That's all you're doing. You don't want to change it around like this. You don't want it to alter, because then see what happened? The body moved around, right? All essence is going to cause you to want to move. It's going to cause you to try to act. It's going to prime the body's nervous system and begin to amplify the body. It's going to motivate the mind and has different effects, but you don't want to be all over the place with that static essence training. Here's another type of training, essence cell training. You want to start, let's just move the body for a second. So the essence is still going into the body, but this is just a good showcase of what the different levels are going to be for that training. Essence cell training is as such, right? So you're going to go 1, that's too much, right? 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 1, 3, 2, 3, 3, right? And then back down. And you're holding each one at that point for the designated amount of time, and then on to the next one without stopping. The water spigot didn't do this. 1, 1, off, and then 1, 2, off, and then 1, 3. It didn't do that. It went from one to the next concurrently without stopping. And that essence cell training is going to hopefully teach you stability in each level and understand better the different levels of generation. Flickering, however, is different. Essence cell flickering is going to be like this. It's not always with 3-3, but it's generally going to be with the highest level of potency you can manage. It's not really meant to be any given level. You just want to be able to turn on quickly and off quickly. On, off, on, off, on, off, on, off, on, off, on, off, right? At set designated portions of time. So you can set that up to however you wish to set it up, but the intention here is to get your essence generation so efficient that it can be straight to 3-3, straight off. Some people don't have that. Some people can only generate, that instantly or that instantly, but not all of it instantly. And so you can have those different levels of stability, right? So I'm going to give another example here really quickly. Give me a moment. Let me grab something. Okay, so we're going to talk about the definitions of stability and such. right? So we have the body here, and essence generation. Essence flows from nothing. It doesn't come from anywhere. It just comes from the body itself. It just appears. It manifests itself. So don't worry about that. But this is the body, right? Consider the body itself capacity, okay? Capacity is kind of sparse to talk about it. It can go a bunch of different ways, but I'm going to explain it like this for this moment in time. If you have a build, and you're generating that build in the field, and you're holding an active state, let's say you're holding a length, right? A length type activation, and you want to hold that generation to have that essence overture, right? You want to have a consistent overture on your body, a constant effect from that essence, which would be elevated heart rate, amplified physicality. There's a lot of things that come with essence, right? There's going to be a reduction in self-preservation, a reduction in pain sensory. Your pupils are going to dilate. You're going to have a lot of change in psychological. There's a lot of factors. It affects everybody differently, but there's going to be a lot. So you're going to want to have that generation as high as you can manage it, and you're going to see that the body's going to. And this is your flow. That's how fast your flow is. Let's say there's no sparking going on yet, and the longer you hold that build, the longer it goes, the more your capacity fills up with whatever you want to call it, intolerance or residual exposure. It's all of that. It comes with essence. That essence is still filling you up, and you're generating that essence and holding it. You're priming your build. You're charging up. Your body will do this. It will fill up with essence to a degree, and as soon as it reaches its maximum, again, capacity, you're going to see this is going to happen. An overflow. What is this right here? This is going to be sparking, right? We don't want this. And so compression or redirection of instabilities or outflow or many different techniques, right? Let's say it's this knife's effect on this container. I'm not very effective right now, am I? Oh wow, this knife is not strong at all. I'll stab myself. I should have done this beforehand. Alright, so now we have that outflow. Let's just lower the flow then. Let's say that it's still... Man, I need to really... Okay, there we go. I'm gonna break my damn faucet. Okay, now we're draining. So now we're hopefully outflowing or actively compressing at the same rate of our flow. And our capacity is still quite high. We're holding things right where we want them, and there is no sparking, and there is no instabilities. For the foreseeable future, at least. We don't know how things are going. But if we're generating too much and we're filling up again, right? That increased, see how things are coming out? That increased weight or flow pressurizes the compression, and it pressurizes the body, the core, to higher outflow, to higher compression. And that's a manipulatable action. That's something that we can utilize. That inertia or flow pressure is something that we can utilize in a formula as its own component, right? So now we're at that maximum. See, we're flowing pretty nicely now. And it's a little bit too much of a flow, so maybe let's reduce our generation a little bit. We're still flowing nicely. Now it seems like we're pretty on point. We're pretty level, right? So that's maximum capacity, right? It's maximum capacity for the flow, for the user at hand. Whatever that flow is, let's call that flow a 2-3 or a 3-2, right? So the term increasing your capacity, if you increase the volume of this container, it would allow for more water in it, which would be heavier, right? If the cuts themselves were in the same location, the water would be heavier above the cuts, and the flow, the outflow, or the compression, or the filtering, what did I name that? The grounding would be more effective because the heightened flow up here, it's going to push it down. Furthermore, if you had these holes bigger, right, your effectiveness without flow was greater, or your ability to filter essence was greater, right? Not just your capacity, but lots of things could dictate or change the way you hold your essence build. right? Or how much energy you can hold inside of yourself. A lot of things affect capacity. But overall, let's say that these are all the instabilities. You're filtering out instabilities now, which is really what that actually is. What's left inside of the container, or your body, is your capacity, right? To hold all that. That should be pure essence. So all that's the raw instability-based essence leaving. And you have the rest of what's inside of you is usable pure essence. And again, that occurs only, right? If we turn off the flow, that occurs only from heightened flow. If you let the flow stop, this is what happens. This is your body decharging or losing its residual. That's residual going away, right? Now, if I let this go, let's just say I let this go and it all drained out. Okay, let's just drain it all out. All right, so we're all drained out. What do we see inside of the container? All these little water dots and everything. Let's say those are permanent. I mean, not as permanent as you'd expect, but let's say they're there for a good while, like a week or a day or two. That's all exposure. And it's not going to affect you just like, residual would. It affects you completely differently. But, so hopefully that was a great example. I thought it was. If there's any further questions about that, feel free to ask me. But yeah, I think that that's a good way to convey the body,